Hi everybody. I'm painting up a bunch of scaly stuff for an encounter. Yeah, I've kind of been frantically painting stuff. My players are killing. They're really good at killing stuff. Better than I imagined they would be. So, anyways, yeah, I wanted to show just really a quick, easy way that you can paint scaly stuff. So I did a zenithol prime on these guys. Just most of you probably know what that is, but it's just you do a black coat, and then you do a highlight spray on top of it. And then next I'm going to use some ink washes to just kind of define their scalies. So first off, I'm going to I got some new game color inks. I've been wanting to use this purple, so we can paint the leeches first. One thing I will say about doing the zenithol priming, sometimes it's nice to have something like this that you can spray on and then just turn, so that you can really kind of control how you're priming the models. But yeah, let's do some painting. All right, so that's how the the ink with the zenithol highlight, how that looks. I like it a lot. I think it's a really easy technique, to like pick up all these scales. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait for it to dry, and then I'm going to do a little bit of dry brushing on top of it, and then that's really going to make the but also the zenithol is going to show me where those highlights need to be on the model to really define the scalies. So let's see, for the grit and the rattlesnake, I think I'm going to do a sepia wash on the rattlesnake, and then ink, sepia ink, and then I'm going to do a green on the brick. So let's see how this looks. So there we go. You can see it can be a little bit hard to control where the ink flows, because it's like you want it to flow into the cracks, but then it can be tough to. But it's easy to touch up a little base and then paint actual paint on parts. But yeah, I'm gonna let this stuff dry, and then with the rattlesnake, it would be cool to do some little spots on him, but I think for now I'm just gonna dry brush him and see how that looks. Same with these guys, or same with all these guys. So, but this is a quick, dirty, easy way to pick up scalies on guys like this. Another thing that these inks are really good for, that I forgot to mention, is like punching up contrast on pre-painted guys. you can see, like, I already did it on this guy, but it really makes all of the scales pop out. And then also, if you have guys like this that are like translucent, I feel like if you don't do something like that on guys like this, that it's a huge missed opportunity. It's like, you know, why wouldn't you? The inks work really, really well to just color translucent stuff without making it opaque, and then it kind of runs into the recesses and does a good job of coloring them. I just, you know, grabbed these guys out of the box. It would probably be better to, if you use like a little bit of degreaser or maybe just some dish soap or something like that. If you aren't going to prime your models, you know, it can be tougher to make things stick to them, paint and, you know, ink or like whatever. Just it can be a little bit tougher to make stuff stick to the model. But if I do a few passes, it'll be fine. Or, you know, I could like airbrush on some kind of like semi-opaque color and then do this too. But yeah, that's gonna help kind of define those well, all of the goopiness on these guys as well. Okay, so everything is totally dry. One thing that I like about Vallejo's ink washes is you can see how matte, how flat the color dries when it's totally dry. You know, being a person who likes to use ink washes and just, you know, washes in general and airbrush and things like that, I can tell you not all ink washes are created equal. Or, you know, even shades. Like I've had trouble with my Citadel shades lately. You can see how that really picks up you're not even really doing any painting. You're just kind of like defining the model, defining the natural texture of the model, and it's a good jumping point to do other things. But what I want to do now is do a little bit of dry brushing. So I'm going to use one of these makeup brushes. This is an elf brush. These are super cheap. Like, you can go to Target or, you know, wherever, like Walmart, and then they're like $2 to like $4, you know, for these brushes, and they're dry brushing magic, basically. So let's see what we have. I think I'm going to use a little bit of bleach bone on the rattlesnake first. I'm going to try that. Yeah, as I'm sitting here talking about Citadel, you know, actually, I might just use my, well, I already did it. Yeah, you can see how these makeup brushes are just like magic for dry brushing. They do such a good job. It's kind of amazing. And I think it's because they're not meant to really hold paint. They're meant to hold like pigments. So they just lend themselves really well to the dry. Like, I use these for pigments too when I'm doing like bases and stuff like that. I use pigments. Or we use these makeup brushes for dried pigments when I'm basing and things like that. Yeah, but you can see that's, you know, for like the little teeny tiny bit of minimal effort, you know, to paint this guy with the wash and then do like a little bit of dry brushing. It's pretty kind of stellar results. Really, really quick, easy paint job. Yeah, so speaking of Citadel, I think I'm going to use some P3 Let's see, what do I have? Got this. This could be interesting. All right, I've got a flesh shade, a P3 flesh color. I think this will look cool. Just gonna dab a little bit off. If you don't know how to dry brush and you don't know how to use ink washes, you're in the right place. Gonna learn something today. So I'm brushing against the grain of the model because I want to pick up as much of that texture as possible. So this will be going with the grain, and so we're going against the grain. Yeah, that is sufficiently like disturbing, kind of you know, wormy looking. If you're like me and you have players who like to kill stuff, like to fight stuff, and you want to bang out some quick paint jobs, this is the way to go. I mean, you could totally do this with like Space Marines or, you know, like armor or whatever. Use the same kind of techniques, but for Scalies, that is really quick and really easy. It looks good. So these guys, I think I might just do another pass with the ink, and then just keep making it more, just kind of staining them, making them a little more opaque each time. There was one other thing that is kind of cool that you can do with this. And that is, after you've painted your bases, if you paint your rocks on the bases, you can just kind of do like a really like quick, you know, like dry brush or something on your base to get the rocks, and then do a wash on the base. So this is the nice thing too about having the airbrush highlights in place, is that I know where, like I have a map, like a color map of where I need to put highlights. Unless you want to create your own sort of light source, like coming from a different angle. Like this is the, you know, where those highlights need to be in order to you know, create like a, you know, top-down highlight. It's just nice to have that map to work from, even if you don't use a wash to get all of your color in there. So yeah, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint up the bases on these guys real quick. And then I'm going to show you how I like to wash bases. Alright, so I just did a kind of heavy-handed like dry brush over these bases over my zenithol prime. And now I'm going to do a wash over that too. Just going to use some of this black ink. And I am like trying my hardest to kind of keep it in the lines, you know, so that I don't have to fix my paint job anymore. But all I really want to do is just get some more contrast into those recesses. Okay, and while that's still kind of tacky, I'm gonna dry brush on a little bit of pigments, just to kind of make it look more like stone-like. Alright, so that's the finished paint job, or, you know, it's a really good foundation, I feel like, for like a jumping point, you know, when you're starting your minis, is to get some like texture, some general tone, and like some highlights and, you know, shadows going. I took these guys a little bit further, like I used the ink wash, the black ink wash, to put some little spots on this guy, and then I dry brushed him a little bit in some areas, you know, painted his teeth. Same thing with this guy, I dry brushed a little bit of green on his back. I actually dry brushed a little bit of the same like kind of goblin green on these guys to give them that kind of like frosted kind of translucent look, like a satin kind of, and then I even dry brushed a little bit on these guys on their bellies to kind of add a little bit of contrast in their shadows and, you know, the teeth and all that. But yeah, I mean, doing an ink wash I feel is like a really good jumping point to do other things, you know, with your, especially with like scaly stuff and slimy stuff. It's just like it's a really good foundation. So anyways, yeah, thanks for watching. Go out, paint something.